low grade 11, we're going to do an array activity now. Basically introduction again to arrays. I'm using this revision program, and each button gives instructions of what you must do for that button click. So for the first one, it says there, declare an array of 5 characters, fill it with random characters. Display the first and the second last character in the rich edit. Here's the rich edit here, already arrays. So we declare an array of 5 characters. So this is how we do it. So var ARR, we can call it anything you want, AR chars colon array 1 to 5 of char data type. And then we're going to fill it with 5 random characters. Now to get a random character, we're going to use a random number, and we're going to use an alphabet string. S alpha equals, I suppose I can use caps, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. There we go. Actually, that should be a constant. So I'm going to say const. There we go. So we declare a string, a constant string of all the alphabet letters, and we know that S alpha is a string numbered from 1 to 26. 26 letters of the alphabet, I hope so. Anyway, so in our for loop, we're going to use a for loop to fill an array. So I'm going to use a for loop counter. Oops, sorry about the caps lock, guys. Right, so we use a k as our for loop counter. So we say for k equals 1 to 5, do begin and end. I'm going to say I've got to get a random number. I'm going to do it the long way. Rran equals random range 1 is the lowest number we can get, and 26 is the highest number we want. So 27 is our second parameter for that random range function. If we want 26 letters, that is what we do. 26 numbers, sorry. So it'll be a random number, and then we just go and put character number, whatever our ran is, into our array. ARR chars square brackets k equals S alpha character number rn. Now you see the difference between using an array and a string. It looks the same, doesn't it? The left hand side is our array box number or index number k. The right hand side is our string with character number rn. So don't forget that. Then we must display, they said we must display the first and the second last character. Well, we know there are 5 characters in our string. Sorry, I'm talking lies. No, in our array. So we know we're going to display box number 1 and box number 4 in our rich edit. So I'm going to do that with red arrays square bracket, dot lines dot add. This is rich edit, ARR chars index number 1, so we're putting that in, and then I'll just use the #9 plus AR chars index number 4. The second last one will be 4. Because we know that there's 5. So run the program, click the button, and there it is. Those are the random numbers. If I click it again, you're going to see different random numbers will be displayed. Strangely enough, oh yes, I cleared the rich edit each time. There we go, we cleared the rich edit before we clicked the button. I mean, in the button click event, we cleared the rich edit. Then we go and fill the array with the random numbers, 5 different ones, 5 different numbers because we use a for loop. We want all boxes filled, so we use a for loop from 1 to 5 because there are 5 indices, and they're numbered with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so that's that one. Now we're going to do this one here. Declare an array of 7 integers using char as indices. The user must input how many numbers to add and then input those numbers and then display the array. So let's first declare the array of 7 integers using char data type as the indices. Let's declare an array. var numbers colon. They don't tell you, ARR numbers. They don't tell you what to call it, we just call it AR numbers. Array. Now the characters must be indices, so we can go A, B, C, D, E, F, must be 7 boxes, so it'll be A to F. They don't tell you whether you must use capital letters or small letters, but if you're going to use a capital letter for the first one, you've got to use a capital letter for the last range. So that's A, B, C, D, E, F is 7. And they must have integers in them. Right, so this is a bit trickier because user must input how many numbers to put into the array and input those numbers. Well, we're going to have random numbers again. So let's go and ask the user to enter how many boxes we want to have filled. So we need an integer to hold that value, so I'm going to say inum equals string to int input box how many numbers to add to array Okay, now let's just see what have I done wrong there. So it's a tricky little thing because we've got lots of brackets to worry about. We've got a bracket for the string to int and a bracket after the input box. So there we have enough brackets. Good. Now we're going to fill the array with random numbers, and I'm going to go from for k equals 1 to inum. For k equals 1 to inum. I'm going to put a random number in each box. They don't tell you what the range of the number must be for each box. We know it's an array of integers, eh? But the thing is here that we have a char data type to be concerned about. Okay, so our first box number is C, a character, C letter, let's call it C letter, okay, or C index, and we're going to start off with the index A. C index equals A. How are we going to go and increment C index? Well, you do the following. You go and you say SUC, you say C index equals the successor of C index. That's what that function means. SUCC is the successor, the one after the previous index character. And then we're going to put it in A, the C index, because remember this array is numbered from A to F. It's starting at A, but inum could be 3, inum could be 4. We don't know. But anyway, we've now got that down. AR numbers, square bracket C index equals, I'm going to call it random range. You can make it 1 to 100. Okay, so we want the range from 1 to 100. There we go. And that is how we do it. Must be displaying the Richard? Yep, display the array. So C index is incremented. You see that? That's how you increment a character. That's how you count characters going from A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, thing here is that because we're going to go through each character A to F, we need a char data type, C loop. I'm going to call it C loop. I'm going to say we want to display the whole array for C loop equals A to A to C index. Well, we could have gone 1 to F. What if they didn't fill all the boxes? Never mind. But I'm going to use from A to C index. Remember, it started at A. And in C index is going to be incremented each time to the next letter and the next letter. And we're going from A to C index. And then we say red arrays dot lines dot add. And remember that the other thing to worry about is that this is an array of integers. Therefore, we have to convert from integer to string. So we say int to string ARR numbers square bracket C loop. It's our looping variable that's going to be incremented from A to whatever C index is. And that is going to display only the numbers. It's not going to display any empty boxes of the array. It's going to display only the ones, because we use A to C index. If we said A to F, which would also work, but then you would have some blank entries because you wouldn't have those last few whatever. So for instance, if the person entered 3, then C index will be A, B, C. It will go up to C. And then the loop, C loop, is going to count from A to C, A, B, C, and only display those 3 numbers into the rich edit. So let's go and run it and see. So I'm going to click the button, and then let's say I'm going to display 3. Okay, so they displayed 3, but then it gave this random number. And I think that would be because the value of C index has been incremented. Okay, so I actually need to decrement it. Pred C index. Random numbers were put into our array of integers. It's a local array. This is what the processor did. It put in random numbers. If we want to go and make all of those numbers naught that are inside that array, we have to do the following. We'll go for our loop for C loop equals A to F. We initialize them all to 0. Otherwise they have random numbers entered into, because it's a local variable here. Any integer or local integer or local array of integers, we're going to have random numbers put into those variables. So C loop equals naught. So now I'm initializing all of them to naught. Now, why did I do this? Well, I'll take this, I'll comment out this, and we'll see. I'll put in 3 again. So click the button, 3 numbers, and you see the 4th number has been entered. Before it was a random number, it was like a really long number that the processor designated. These are our random numbers that we put in. And that 4th one, that is because when you go out of a for loop, okay, and particularly here, what have we done? This is going to run 3 times, and the 3rd time C index is then going to be D. When this loop ends, C index will D. So me putting this pred means the predecessor, taking 1 away, I will have 3 ABC. So I will go and do that and run it and see. 3. There we go. So now that's fine. Remember, those are random numbers that were displayed in the rich edit. the random numbers were put into the array, and then we displayed that in the rich edit up to the C index. If I said A to F, let's run the program, click the button, and let's say 3 again. Can you see? Where's the 7th number though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's supposed to be 7, eh? A, B, C, D, E. Oh, because F is 6. It's supposed to be up to G. G goes to 7. Yeah. Silly me. Right, let's do it again. 3 numbers, and there you have the other 4 boxes have not had any numbers entered. And if we only want to display the 3 numbers, then over here in this loop for displaying, we use C index, which was incremented, or should we say the successor was at, increment. This is how you increment a character, and this is how you decrement a character. So you can count with characters. So that was the main point of that activity, and to use character indices for your array and how to use them. And also an array of integers, which actually, if it's a local array, you need to initialize each box to 0 if you're going to use integers and you're going to add them into. So, right, let's do this difficult one. Declare an array of 12 integers filled with random numbers from 1 to 5. Display each number as a line of X's, and use the constant array to display the month name on each line. My word. Okay, let's first declare an array of 12 integers. That's the easiest part, eh? VAR, ARR, ARR, I don't know, numbers. Array 1 to 12. They don't tell us what the indices must be, so that's good enough for me. AR numbers in array 1 to 12 of integer. Okay, fill random numbers into each one of those boxes. Okay. So we'll use a for loop, and we'll go and fill each box with a random number. Why am I using a for loop? Because I know I want to do 12 times. I definitely want to go from 1 to 12. For k equals 1 to 12 do ARR num square brackets k, don't forget about the square brackets, equals random range 1 to 5, so it's 1, 6. Okay, so there we filled the array with numbers from 1 to 5. Good. Next thing. Let me just check something out. Okay. Display each number, we're going to go through each array, and then we're going to display the line of X's in the rich edit. And then use the constant array to display the month name on each line. So we're going to say, if the number is 4, we say April, and then we'll put 4 X's. And if it's 5, we'll say May, and then 2 X's or whatever. No, not 4 X's for April, sorry. A number of X's in a line after the month's name. So we need to have a constant array filled with the month's name. So I'm going to say constant, sorry about the capitals, ARR month, colon, array, array 1 to 5 of string equals, and in brackets I'm going to go and put in the January, February. So I'm pre-filling this constant array, April, January, February, March, April, oh my word. April, let me just put this on a new line so you can see it. So this is how we declare a constant array that's pre-filled. Okay. Study that code. You will see that in your exam papers probably. A constant array, there it is. That means you can't make any changes to it, and there's 5 items and they've got strings in each one. Right, now we've got to go and we get, now remember we put random numbers from 1 to 5 in each box of ARNum. Now in our Richard we're going to display all 12 boxes of the array because there's 12 boxes of ARNum. So I'm going to use my for loop because I'm going to go from 1 to 12 to go through each box of the array. Okay, and I'll use begin and end. We're now going to display in the Richard, but before we do that we have to go and build a string of stars. What is that? Stars, or what was it? Is it X's? So I'm declare a string called isLine because we've got to build a string. We're going to build a string using the number that's in each box of the array. So I'm going to go get that number from each box of the array. I'll store it into ARNum. Remember we put random numbers into each box of ARNum. So I'm going to go and get it out of there, each one. ARNum equals ARR number, ARNum square brackets K. So I'm getting it from the first box. Then I'm going to use another for loop, and you can't use a K, you've got to use another for loop variable. I don't know, J. For J equals 1 to ARNum. And by the way, I initialized my line over there. Nope. I've got to initialize my line over here. So I've got to initialize it for each builder we're doing. So we're saying isLine equals isLine plus A and X, because they said we must put X's. So let's go through this very carefully. We're going from 1 to 12 of this array called ARNum, okay? And then for each box, say it's box number 1, we get ARNum, the quantity in ARNum. Okay, can you see the number that was put into ARNum over there? So box number 1, if it's 3, then we're going to build a string from 1 to 3. So it'll be 3 X's. But to build a string, you need to initialize it to empty, and then inside another loop here, we are building the string. So for J equals 1 to whatever ARNum, if ARNum is 3, then isLine equals isLine plus X, and then it will add 3 X's in a row. isLine will have consist of 3 X's. And after we've done that, we have to then go and display in Richard it red arrays dot lines dot add. We have to display the corresponding index number of AR month, whatever ARNum. Is it ARNum or is it yeah, we know that it was 1 to 5, wasn't it? Okay, so ARR month square brackets, is it ARNum or is it I? Let's go and have a look what the says there. Display the month's name. Okay, use the constant array. Display each number as a line of X's, and use the constant array to display the month names on each line. Well, it's not very clear what the question is doing, but we're going to do this. We're going to go and put ARNum inside here. So if ARNum is 3, it's going to display March. If ARNum is 2, it will display February. If ARNum is 1, it will display January. And there'll only be 1 star. And then we're joining that to isLine. So this is how I'm reading that particular button click question. So I'm only, actually, you know what? I think it's actually 12 months. We're supposed to have 12 months here in the row. May. That's going to be awful. I'm going to go and type all of this. June, July, August. How awful. September, October, November, December. Excuse me if I don't use capitals all the time. So I've got to actually have all the months of the year because it was 12. Okay, 12. And if it's 12, then it's not I number we use, it's K. You see that? Now you must remember that this for loop here is one long line. In fact, it can be written like this. Okay? That's one statement. There's no begin and end, it's one long statement. These are two statements in this begin, so we take each box of ARnum, there it is, get whatever the number is, and then get our empty string, set it up, and then here with our J counter, for loop counter, we're going from 1 to what INUM is, whatever was inside that array box number. We build a string, and then in the rich edit we're displaying month number K, which will correspond with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12. So the corresponding month number there, these are two, basically these are parallel arrays, you could call them. Even though the one is constant, that one's got numbers added into it. And then we display that, and then maybe I should put a #9 in there, and then we display S line. So take note, we're using the constant array box number K. Well, let's run it and see what it looks like. So remember that was 1 to 5 was put into, you see it was only maximum of 5 x's there. Whatever that data means, but that is what it looks like. Right, now to continue on that line, I'm going to do this one next, declare a global constant array filled with the months of the year and display all of it in a message box. A message box, mind you, not just a rich edit, a message, show message. So I'm just copying and pasting this global array, this constant array. I'm going to put it globally over here. They say it must be a global array, so that's what we have to do. Let's go and get to the top. Ah, there it is, arrow months. Oh, there it is already. Arrow months is already declared. And in the button click, we've got to put those months in a show message. A message box, not the rich edit. It's easy in the rich edit. If we want to do it in the rich edit, we'll do the following. We'll have VARK integer. So remember it's AR months, eh? So for K equals, we know there's 12 boxes, so we can go from 1 to 12. Do red arrays. I'm going to do both. I'm going to do the rich edit first. Dot lines. Dot add AR months. Square brackets K. So that global array was already declared as a constant. You can't make changes to it, but you can use it, you can display it. So if I click the button, there they all are. Nice and neat, that was easy. But now what if you want to join that into a show message component? Well, then you have to build a string. So we say sline string. And we make sline equal to an empty string. And yes, we're going to use for loop. And we're going to build the string inside the for loop. Sline equals sline plus AR months K. Luckily they're all our strings. But then I'm going to join a #13. Let's see what happens there. I'm only doing one thing in this loop, so I don't need begin and end here. Right, and then I'm going to show message Islam. There we go. Now I'm going to show Islam as a message. Right, there it is. Looks like the Richard, isn't it? But it's a show message component. And this video is going on long enough, so I'm going to stop right there, and then we'll carry on with the next episode soon.